Okay, I think now you guys can hear me. Properties. Okay, we're hooked up. There we go. Now you guys can hear me, I think. So today we are going to be making some fields as well as finishing up this stable build I got right here. That's right next to the slime stable. So we're going to work on that, and then we'll see what to do from there. So first, we need to gather up some deep slate bricks. And now, let's break that. There we go. Now we can get to work. Okay. You know, it's weird, but I've noticed recently that foxes are spawning less in Minecraft. I don't know if they are changing that for the new update or not, but foxes haven't spawned in, like the spruce forests you would normally see. So I don't know if that's like a bug or something. But, honestly, I miss seeing those little critters run around. Honestly, the biggest issue is, like, collecting foxes if you're like one of those collectors who collects every animal and who collects every item. It's like, how are you supposed to collect foxes if you can't have a hard time finding them, you know? Like, are they... I don't know if it was like a change or anything, but honestly, if there was a change to that, that would really suck. And, yeah. Honestly, I kind of want to capture and breed some rabbits for a little trick I learned. Oh, crap. So, I recently learned one way to make more lively builds is to tie mobs underneath the ground and then basically have them sort of attached to a fence or something. I have had that done on one of my worlds before, so I thought might as well try it here, you know. Let's get... We're gonna need to get some lanterns in here. I think then we'll do with some spruce. Which I'm currently out of. Fuck, okay. Maybe I could use dark oak? No, I want to use spruce. Wait, we need lanterns as well, so we'll pull out my ender chest when I get there. And we're gonna move those skeleton horses in there. So, recently, when I was, walking by, right, I wasn't paying attention. I saw a white thing, I was like, huh, that must be a llama. Turns out it was a skeleton horse, and, yeah. That was wonderful, you know? Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is do that, maybe? And then we're going to need to pull out the ender chest, which I don't have. Shit. Just head in here and grab some goodies. There we go. This is why I have a decorations box in my ender chest. Let's put an ender chest there. Okay, now this. Look at that. Cute little stable. Now, let's go grab those horses. There we go. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Now what I want to do. You know, I think what might be good is to texture this build a bit. Let's add some buttons. Sort of as like to break up the monotony of the format. There we go. Yeah, you can sort of see the texture when you're like closer to it. I think what also might be good is some signs. Though we should probably grab some honeycomb to get all of that. So let's go grab some honeycomb. Since we have our little honey farms all over the place. Let's grab whatever leftover honeycomb we got. And, oh, wait, shears. I saw those. There we go. That's 11. Okay, let's check my house for some, because we got 20 honeycomb now, so there might be some inside, I think. Okay, we'll just have to put a few of these signs down and then manually wax, because we are on a honeycomb. So here's what I'm thinking. Do that, and then... Because something I learned recently is that you can basically prevent lag by waxing your signs. So we're doing that as a way to prevent lag. Okay. Now, looking at this build from this angle, looks hella good. I think also what might benefit the location is maybe a few fence posts with lanterns on them. So let's put this right here. And I think what we'll need to do is more work down in this area right here. But for now, I like this. And I think we should probably replace that stone. There. I think we did a hell of a good job. I think lastly, we just sleep. And then we can switch the map out, and yeah. Now, I may change the name of this base soon, because right now it's known as Jester Hills, and I'm not sure if the hills aspect is actually still accurate to the vision of the area. So we will get to work on more builds later on. I think for today we won't be doing the fields, but other than that, I think we have a really good start here. And I think one way we could make this area look more lively is to sort of bind the crates, you know? And yeah. So if we have like little things like this at the end of a project, we're going to then just sort of bind them together, make it look like shipping. And let's go get some more honeycomb so we can finish that off. Apparently they haven't made honey. I love how bees like pollinate on spore blossoms now. You know, one thing they could do with honeycomb blocks is if you like shift left click it, you could like get 4 like uses out of it, right? As like it was honeycomb, but honestly I don't think Mojang would do that, which sucks. It's a damn shame too, because I think honestly it would be such a way to save, such a good way to save space, personally. Thank you, Lord. I had honeycomb after all. everything, so let's just throw in the remainder of my blocks, and also put a torch there, because then we also need to cover up the hole right here. But now that that's covered up, we can sort of get a fuller idea of the area. I think this little like outcropping of like little buildings helps add some character to the Jester Hills area. One thing that I think I could do more of, perhaps, is I could potentially add some little stations for like things like ender pearls, and maybe I could do something for like more of those like little food stations like the one I made up there for like saturation stew, so that like I had something, you know. I also think it's time I got myself my own like private XP source, because at this point I really need it. My stuff is breaking way too fast at this point. And yeah. So I don't think I've shown this on stream, but like we do have the sulfur cube breeding area set up. And in here are some of the sulfur cubes that I bred. So one thing I learned is you can actually breed these by breaking them in half. And then if you feed them slime, if you feed them slime, they actually will grow into full on sulfur cubes. Okay, so we got that guy grown up. And as you can see, this actually can be used with the golden dandelion. Okay, do I need to have an empty hand or something? Looks like it. But yeah, so you can basically breed them like that, which is something I did not expect them to add in the latest update. Oh, that doesn't go in there. Now, let's just throw this in here. I want to hear what you guys think, chat. What do you think of this so far? Because we finished the roof on this sort of horse stable, and we moved the skeleton horses I got recently in there. So I think the biggest thing is like how you all feel about the design of the base so far. Oh, was this guy trading? Come here, you son of a bitch. Hey, come here. I'm not gonna chase you. Okay. Well, I don't have my emeralds on me right now, so I'm not gonna... I think what I like most about this little collection of buildings right here is that they sort of have purpose to them outside of just being like something to cover up farms, you know? Something I want to work on is actually incorporating farms into the structure of a build or whatnot, you know? And I mean, there's ways to make artistic looking farms too, so it's not like it's a thing that's impossible or whatnot. But I think the biggest challenge is like actually incorporating the farm into the build, per se. And one thing I really need to do is actually clean up the pumpkin and melon farm, turn it into a more, into a more, fucking nice to look at thing. I could also work on the interior to the sugarcane farm. And also I need to work on the look of the cactus farm too, because the inside is still a bit grassy, I would say. Let's sleep really quick. Okay. And I think if we work on those interiors on stream, because as you can see, there's still like the grassy area around here, but like we've gotten collections, but it's so ugly to look at on the inside. I think what we could do is actually like work on making this place have a more cohesive look to it, because like the fact that the sugarcane farm looks like this, that just will not do. That won't do. And I think there's other stuff I can work on too, because I mean, look at this. This is great for like hiding the collection system, but I want to make it so that I can come up here and like get some sugarcane. And then, as I mentioned, there's the pumpkin farm, and also now that I think about it, the bamboo farm as well is not the best looking sort of situation. Because like if you come in here, it's cramped. And I think what would be best is if I, like, sort of made a tatami mat sort of texture on the floor instead of, like, just leaving this as it is. Because, as you can see, this is just not gonna do it forever. So I think what we'll do is actually hook up the bamboo collection system all the way over here for both farms. And then we'll clear out the entire thing. So yeah, let's go grab some hoppers so we can at least get that out of the way first. I know I have some hoppers in here somewhere. There we go. Okay. So we'll move this system, because as I see it, this is not going well. And we had just enough hoppers. And now, As you can see now, the collections chest is gathering up all that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is take a chest out here, fill it up with whatever like random junk is in there. Because what we need actually now okay. As you can see, we got our collection system set up. I think what we got here is perfect for now, until we get to switching things up a bit. Because the last thing we need to fix up is probably the most annoying one, because I had to basically tear down the entire farm on the inside and rebuild it from the ground up. Because as you see, we got this farm right here. We could, maybe, if I think about it, like, we could potentially just change the floor out and, like, turn it into sort of a semi-functional, like, sort of office situation. But we'll have to see. So yeah, I think the best option for now is to basically just do whatever could be in terms of fun. We should probably like start the renovations of this area, because I want this place to be completed by the time that we end the season. And I mean, that's a long way off, but I want to be able to like do other stuff too, besides just building this place up. Because I think that if I let this project take over my entire time on the server, then it'll have been a waste. And I mean, there's plenty of other things I could be doing on this server besides building. But for now, I think that'll have to be the end of the stream, potentially. I don't know. Do I have time? Yes, I have time. Okay. Yeah, I have plenty of time, guys, so I'll probably keep streaming. I think what we need to do is get a few of these. There we go. And my menu, there we go. Now, since we got a mushroom farm set up, I want to go look at that and see the collections. Because I know for a fact that, yeah, this thing is barely producing mushrooms as it is. I actually don't even know how much, yeah, we need to also make a dandelion farm. Let me just look at something really quick. Yeah, we still have quite a long time for materials. I think the main issue is just resource gathering. Okay, so I mean, we could probably clear out a bit of space down here and start working on like a few like trading stalls or whatnot for like when I move villagers down here, maybe. Or we could put something else down here. I think what might be the best option is to maybe. Let me think. I think we could possibly like make a bit of a like flower field down here or something, so that like when you're walking in, you get a eye full of flowers or whatnot. No, I kind of like the idea. Give me a second. Let's grab whichever flower works best for this situation. Because I want it to be something that won't like be directional or whatnot. Because directional flowers really just take away the vibes. I think, honestly, these lilacs would be pretty good for a flower. We can also try to find some alliums, maybe. Okay. So, yeah. Let's just make a little flower field for the sake of argument. There we go. Okay, I think what we'll need to do is head towards where we were and start with the flowering process. Okay, so maybe we could also do like some of these wildflowers at the edge. What do you guys think? Wildflowers around the edges and lilacs in like the center mass. Let's move this. That on the edge there. Now it doesn't need to be perfect, but getting a rough estimate of what the place would look like with said flowers around it. There we go. Yeah, I think this will work. You know, personally for me, I think media literacy is dead. I feel like people watch movies and then get mad when a movie does not, like, fit their vision of what the movie they thought it was going to be or whatever. And I think that's a huge problem at this point. Because if you're going to watch a movie, you might as well go to a movie you know you'll actually enjoy, you know? Like, personally, I usually purchase movies that I've watched at least once and actually liked. And I think this is the problem with people nowadays, is that they go to a movie just to be negative, regardless of, like, the actual quality of the movie. And that's what sucks. Because they go in expecting dog trash, and then they don't, like, think about how the movie, like, how the movie was, like, going. Like, they don't interact with the material itself. They simply go based off of some preconceived notion of politics or whatnot. And it's like, every movie has some kind of message to it, right? And, like, that's not a big deal. The problem is when you basically make the movie only about the message, I think. Like, for example, one movie I think that is awful, and it's because it's not entertaining. It's not really a movie. It's more or less just some guy going around making a fool of himself in front of people who are literally just chilling out and just existing. And he wants to make them seem like they are idiots. And the person I'm talking about is Matt Walsh. If you know Matt Walsh, he's a guy from, like, this website called the Daily Wire, and honestly, the guy just isn't funny. He just comes off as kind of like he's salty about not getting into art school or whatever, and it just comes off as, like, a bit of a... It just comes off as kind of dumb, you know? Like, if you're gonna go make fun of an industry, right? Like, there's plenty of critiques for the industry he was critiquing, right? But at the same time, like, if you go around basically making yourself look like the asshole, then you basically failed in the narrative you were trying to tell. Now, personally, I think the biggest problem with movies nowadays is the fact that, like, the biggest problem out of all of them is that basically they're just not entertaining. Like, one movie I really loved was Superman from 2025, so last year, at the time of this stream. And I really loved that movie. That was a really, really good movie. And there was a lot of, like, these weirdos who basically complained about Superman being supposedly, like, gay and weak, and it was just like, did you watch the same movie as I did? Because that's not what I saw at all. Like, I think what's interesting is this Superman was in a much more, like, vulnerable sort of position. It also was different than how Zack Snyder had portrayed him, right? And, like, these people who claim to be comic book fans basically will go around and talk about how, like, comic book movies are, like, for pussies or whatever. And I'm just like, you guys love Zack Snyder's stuff, right? And it's just like, you're coming off kind of hypocritical here by saying that you want things to be comic accurate, and yet Zack Snyder's Justice League and his Superman movies were completely inaccurate to the, like, DC mythos. And that's something I've never understood, how people can, like, say something is accurate when it is inherently not, you know? And that's something I've started to realize as I've gotten older, is that these people do not, like, care about the quality of the movie, or if it's good or not. They care about if it doesn't have a vision that aligns with their perceived notion of things. So, like, say they wanted a Superman who was, like, edgy, like Henry Cavill's Superman. Well, here's the problem with that. That's not Superman. That's basically Batman in a Superman skin. Like, if you want an edgy, grounded superhero, Batman is the hero to go to for that. If you want, like, street level stories about, like, about vigilantes, one thing I'd recommend is Spider-Man. If you want, like, grand epic tales of an alien fighting against the, like, forces of evil from Earth and from outer space, Superman, Supergirl, that sort of stuff, that is what you'd want to watch or read. And I feel like people mix up the notion that, like, comic books are a niche, when in fact, like, it is one of the most popular mediums in the world. Like, and also the people who, like, complain about, like, how comic book fans aren't really fans because they didn't read the comics, and it's like, you can still enjoy a comic book movie without reading the comics. And these people who, like, say this are also the same people who have never read a comic book in their life, and they basically just LARP on that. Or they read the comic book and did not understand what the material was saying, like what the message at the end of the day was. Like, if it's a story about, like, finding hope in humanity or whatever, they'll misconstrue it as, like, basically being too positive or whatever. And it's like, you can tell a story that is dark and gritty, but also have, like, a message that is hopeful, you know? Like, for example, right? I think one movie that I think is really good, and I know this is going to be a bit of a controversial take, but I think one of the best, like, superhero movies is actually, like, besides Superman 2025, I'd say one of the best superhero movies has got to be, what was the name? Okay. I'm trying to remember the name of it. The Green Hornet, I think, right? And it was a stupid, like, satire on, like, it was like an adaptation of a comic book, and, like, it had all this stuff in it. And what I find interesting is, like, how you can basically parody a material as well, because, like, when I feel like superhero movies used to just be these, like, goofy, like, not taken seriously, like, projects like Ghost Rider or fucking Green Lantern and whatnot, because people didn't see that as serious storytelling, because comic books can be absolutely goofy. But at the end of the day, I think what matters most is that you're going to do stuff that you enjoy and not doing stuff just because you want to find the negatives in everything, you know? Like, you should genuinely enjoy doing something without there being, like, a, like, underlying cynicism to it, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna just end my stream for now. I have some stuff to do, and I will see you all in the next stream. If you like this sort of, like, relaxed sort of vibe, I would recommend subscribing. But honestly, you do you, man, and I'll see you all in the next stream. Bye-bye.